Hello, welcome to Layback with Betfair. This is a special edition, part one of a two-part series ahead of the Ultimate Driver Championship. I cannot wait. It is an epic idea. I hope it is replicated across different codes as I welcome in Ryan Spice, the CEO, called off air by Darren Carroll, as I welcome you both in. Ryan, we'll start with you. Huge week ahead and a fantastic concept.
Yeah, it is, Tom. Can't wait. We're Ultimate Drivers on our doorstep now. It's going to be 4 days of frivolity, drinking, getting together, but with a big prize pool at the end of the rainbow.
Now, talk to me about. Oh, welcome you in first, Darryl. How are you, Darren? How are you, mate?
Good, thanks, Tom. Yeah, I'm heading up next Tuesday. Can't wait. Just the whole concept. As soon as I heard about it, I just couldn't wait to get involved, and lucky enough to get involved. So, yeah, just so looking forward to it.
I look forward to finding out how you got involved and how everyone got involved in it. But first of all, Ryan, I'll talk to you about what it is. A brief explanation of the idea, because I absolutely love the idea and I'd love to see it in thoroughbreds, mate.
Yeah, so Ultimate Driver, the seed was planted with one of the local drivers here in Queensland, a young guy named Trent Dawson. He came up with the concept, pitched it to Racing Queensland and the Albion Park Harness Racing Club, based off the Netflix Drive to Survive type of concept. So the original idea was basically a slot holder event, but where you actually get to choose your driver.
And the slot holder event's not... pretty common now, not uncommon. I was going to say we've seen the Everest and the huge success of that, but this is different in the fact that you select, and in thoroughbred world, it's like selecting J-Mac or Kara McAvoy or Jason Collette or Blake Shin. You select the driver first, yep. And then what happens?
Yeah, so if you're a successful slot holder, you will do a deal and select your driver, do those negotiations and lock them away. And then we come to Wednesday, the 19th, where we have the huge draft day. And the series goes over 2 nights, Friday, the 21st of February, Saturday, the 22nd, 10 races each night, hopefully 10 horses in each field. So 200 horses to choose from. And we're going to be drafting off the board 200 selections, turn by turn in a snake style draft.
Oh, I'll dissect the draft in a little bit. First of all, you two are both in a syndicate. What's the syndicate name? How did that come about? How did you get involved in it, Darren?
So, yeah, First Over Crush Syndicate, headed by Ryan Spice. So Ryan was the one that masterminded that whole syndicate and got a few... I suppose the family members of Nathan Dawson involved, Nathan himself, and then some loyal Betfair people like myself and Will Norman, and then you've got the likes of Mitch Sidebottom. So a lot of people that people would know on this front. So as soon as Ryan approached me, I couldn't wait to get involved. So. Very fortunate to be involved, and we think we're fortunate to get a slot because it was highly competitive, as you could imagine. I think there's a few that missed out, so yeah, love the idea and the concept, so couldn't wait to get involved.
How many slot holders are there, Darren?
So 10 slot holders. I'm not sure exactly how many nominated, Ryan. I think it was nearly up to 20 nominations, so it was very hotly contested. So. So 10 slot holders, and then obviously you choose your driver from there. Anywhere over the world is most important. So not just Australian drivers. We've got Australian, New Zealand, Canada involved, and Sweden involved. So that's very unique in itself.
I love that idea. It's like picking Ryan Moore in a thoroughbred world and flying him over and him representing. Ryan, talk to me about how you gained a slot. You said to me off air when we chatted the other day that there was a focus on getting more people involved in the concept and bigger syndicates were favoured. Is that right?
Absolutely. Racing Queensland came up with the idea that this slot holder type series was going to be for the people and for the true racing enthusiast. So it's not just for rich blokes with cash. So there was a preference given to people who could bring together and form the largest syndicates. And that was given preference in the selection process. So for our First Over Crush syndicate, we've put together a group of 22, and pretty much a slot costs 20,000. So we've chopped it all up, and we've got 22 equal stakeholders ready to do battle with Nathan Dawson as our driver.
Thanks for the invite, Ryan. Next time I want to invite to the slot. Now, I love the concept. I love that it's not for the rich because I'm a poor person. I just need a few friends, Ryan. So next season, I want you to, or next edition, please tap me on the shoulder and send an invite my way because I absolutely love it. So,
And
22
Tom,
blokes.
just as I could say, is that they've even created like a pit lane scenario. So all the slot holders will be having a pit lane down the straight to have all your holders involved in the marquees type style. So that's just going to generate so much more atmosphere on track as well. So everyone grouped together cheering on our slots.
Talk to me about that. So the drivers between races will come back to their pit entrance and have a chat with the form students and do the form and ask how you're going and a bit of a rev up speech from Ryan. Is that what we're envisaging?
I don't know, Ryan. I'm sure that there'll be regular conversations going on between our drivers, and just as importantly, how other drivers are going as well, and how the points are shaping up. Because I think tactically, it's going to be, such an amazing concept all throughout the 2 nights. Is that where your position is important, but where everyone else is positioned as well is just as important. And I think we'll get more into it later on. But I would have thought that your bottom 5 selections in the draft are just as important as your top 5 selections, and how those horses participate and how many maximised points that they can get. So just the whole, I suppose, involvement from the syndicates involved and cheering everyone on and getting involved together, just I suppose further emphasises what they're trying to achieve, and that is getting a large group of people together and enjoying a night at the trots.
Yeah, sounds brilliant. Now, drivers. You said drivers from all around the world. Where does Australia sit on a global scale of harness racing? The US strong. Where's the strong jurisdictions? Where are the drivers coming from? Who's the biggest danger to you as well, Ryan? Who's the best driver in the world? I'm keen to understand all of those kind of questions, Ryan.
I think the easy part of that question pool there was who's the best driver in the real world. I think undisputedly it's a Kiwi by the name of Dexter Dunn, who bases himself in the US. He's a dominant force. He's taken all before him over the last 4 or 5 years since he's been in the US. Yeah, he's the undisputed number 1. Back closer to home, I would say if we ran a poll, who's the best driver in Australia? I'm thinking maybe Gary Hall Jr. would just come out on top. He's been at the top of the tree for a very, very, very long time. From a Queensland perspective, our 2 leading drivers here, Pete McMullen and Nathan Dawson, have both got slots. So they'll be displaying their skills over Ultimate Driver, which is fantastic. And not to forget, from Victoria, we've got Kate Gath. She's a wonderful driver, probably the best female driver in Australia. So she just considers herself as a driver. She'll come up and mix it with the best and they'll know that she's here.
The other important thing to say, Tom, is that it's not just the top 10 in the world. We've got some real up-and-coming drivers as well. Like you've got Carter Dalgetty, who's representing the Boys Get Paid syndicate in New Zealand. He's only driven just over 100 winners, but he's only very young. He's a real up-and-comer, so they've chosen to go a completely different direction than somewhere else, which is, again, the uniqueness of the series, that you have the opportunity to choose who you want.
Yeah. Now, as a novice of harness racing, drivers make such a bigger difference and impact than I probably don't appreciate and didn't understand. And I've been lucky to speak to you two at times, and a number of harness punters that know what they're doing and have a great knowledge of the industry, and they emphasise how important drivers are. Is that right, Darren?
Oh, absolutely. I suppose when you've got 10 of the very best in the world slotted against each other, that mitigates that a little bit more, because in our day-to-day betting, there's such a big gap between some of the drivers and some of the hobbyist type thing, or the non-regulars. But here we have 10 superb elite drivers, so understanding of the horses, the way they drive, they're all outstanding in their own rights. So that will probably be eliminated somewhat. So then, choosing the right horse and the tactics involved will become even more important.
Yeah, and Ryan's providing some content for Betfair both nights. So the series, Ryan, 2 nights, Friday and Saturday. What dates were they? 20th, is that right?
21st, 22nd. Albion Park.
Yep.
It's going to be hectic.
You're the local man. You've got a local driver. Hopefully, you've got an edge. Just on what Darren said, how's going and doing a form for events like this? You might lose a bit of an edge. Is it harder to do with such top drivers competing against each other?
I think so, Tom. The fields are going to drop late Monday and the draft is 2:00 Wednesday. So we've got like a 36-hour window to nail your form for 20 races, 200 horses, to rank them, price them, know where you want to, know where you want to be, who you want to target. And as Darren said earlier, the front end of the draft is, critically important because you need to hit the mark there to gather the points. But the back end of the draft, if you don't nail those runners that are going to collect 3, 4, and 5 points over someone who's just going to collect 1 or 2, it's going to be as critical as the front end.
And that's where the tactics will come heavily involved, Tom, where you might want to have something that's 3 or 4 back the fence, for instance. So therefore, you think, well, it could run 6th or 7th rather than running last type things. So, it'd be really, really important, those last few.
So points down to 10th, is it?
Yeah, we're certainly hoping that every field will be a full field with 10 runners. The point structure is, if there is a full field of 10, I think it's 17 for first, 12 for second, and it scales all the way down from there. So, of course, winning is bonus the most, so to speak, because you go 5 points clear. But, picking up those middle points for horses that run, say, from 5th to 8th, it's gonna all add up at the end of the day.
Yeah. Now, I want to talk about tactics, and my mind naturally goes to big fields with big stables with multiple runners, and you see it occasionally. But the taboo word is team riding with stables. Does that come into play? If you've got a favourite that might roll forward and has natural speed, can you put something into the race more and put pressure on it and favour the second favourite that you might have as your driver on and stuff like that with the draft system? Does that come into play, these tactics of how you are driving and picking and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's all about the series here. It is over the 20 races. It's not just like a one-off, race at Ballarat on a Wednesday night, for instance. Yeah, so it's a totality type of get as many points as you can over your main rivals as best you can.
But also, you don't want to get your horse completely out of the comfort zone, because you don't want to be picking up the lowest amount of points, because if you do that, then you're going to be in all sorts of trouble on the leaderboard. And they're paying to top 5, so the prize money is quite good down to top 5. And also, importantly, each winner is allocated a portion of the prize pool as well throughout the 20 races.
$1,000 for a winner? Is that right, of a race?
Yep.
That's $1,000 for a winner of the race. And what do the winner of the entire series get?
It is, I had it written here somewhere, so it's 100,000 for first, 50,000 for second, 35 for third, 20 for fourth, and 10 for fifth.
And $20,000 slots overall. Is that right?
Yep. And then 6th to 10th is 5,000. So you're already getting something back, and so it's great.
Already rich.
Yeah,
good. Get me involved next time. Let's talk about the draft, Ryan. So Wednesday night, you've done the form. Fields come out Monday. You've done the form for a day and a half, as much as you possibly can, and we'll get the draft order up. You're sitting second, so Carter Duggarty for the Boys Get Paid Syndicate got the go-karts number 1. You're sitting in number 2 with Nathan Dawson and First Over Crush. You mentioned it was a snake. How does it all work?
So a snake-style draft is probably the purest and the fairest type of draft that there is. The key issue here is that it's not a race-by-race drafting setup. So you need to think of it as one big race. There's 200 selections, and they're on the board from the get-go. So in theory, if there's an absolute $1.10 moral in one of those races at pick 1, the Boys Get Paid Syndicate, they're going to nab that off the board with pick 1. And then obviously we're in slot 2, so we get pick 2. But as it goes along, we end up with picks 2, 18, 22, picks 2, 19, 22, 39. So it's all the way through repeated, all the way through for those 200 picks. So are you better off with picks? If you come out first, you pick 1 and 20, or are you better at pick 10 when you get back-to-back picks at 10 and 11? So it's gonna really depend on the fields, Tom.
Yeah, like you might be better off having pick 1 if there is a $1.04, $1.05, 10 favourite that looks immoral, but and all the races are worth the same as well. So there's no difference in the actual class of the race in terms of prize money and points, right?
So Friday night prize money, I think it's just a shade over $10,000 per race, penalty free, which is, wonderful for connections and all involved. And then I'm pretty sure on the Saturday night, which is our normal Metro night, prize money is a shade over 15,000. So I have no doubt that we'll get full fields, 10 races each night with 10 runners.
Yeah, and in terms of the points and for the series, they're weighted the same.
Yeah, and there's a little sliding graph about, just say, if we do have a late scratching or there's a 9-horse field or an 8-horse field, the points get adjusted, and there's a random draw to see who sits out.
Interesting. So your pick 2 and 19. What's the strategy for you guys? I know you don't want to give too much away, and we'll chat more after the draft potentially. In part 2, we'll talk form as well. But strategies in play, whether it's your strategy, how you think people will go about it. You mentioned pick 1 and probably go to the shortest price favourite on the 2 nights. What are you thinking in terms of strategies? How will people play it?
Yeah, something I'm keeping in the back of my mind is with our local drivers, with Nathan, Pete, and Angus. I think they're going to want to gravitate to horses that they would regularly drive. So I'm thinking I got to keep that in the back of my mind when doing the form and ranking each individual horse. My plan is to rank each individual race. So there's like a 1 to 10 order across the 20 races, plus price them, and then formulate from that a 0 to a 1 to 200 style of ranking. But I think in the actual draft, that's going to be the hard part, keeping track of the selections as they go, who's left on the board. When, say, your pick's coming around and you're 2 or 3 away, and those 2 selections that you had up your sleeve, if they get taken off the board, how you react, stay cool, calm and collective, and then make a good decision mid-draft. That's where it's going to be won and lost.
I find it amazing, Darren, in a sense that you can pick 10 horses in the one race and have that whole race.
And that's why,
bizarre.
Pick 10 in the draft might be an advantage, because they get pick 10 and 11 over the course of 20 races. So they could easily select the 2 winners in those races.
Or 2 favourites in the one race and maximise that race.
So, it's a very fair concept, and spread over 20 races as well gives an equilibrium, I suppose, to even it right out. So it's the whole draft. That's the thing that I suppose got me really excited about the whole thing, because it's involving your form aspect of it as well, and then getting the driver's perspective of it. It just links everything together.
Yeah, as I mentioned, Ryan, you're doing the form. You've got some. We're doing part 2 next Wednesday as well, so we won't know the exact draft, but you're doing some form, and we'll publish that post-draft for you, so we won't give your secrets away, and we can talk form. But I'll tell you what, if you're a friend of Ryan's, I wouldn't be speaking to him between Monday and Wednesday before the draft. He's going to be the busiest man in Australia, I reckon. You head down pricing 20 races in a day and a half, Ryan.
Yeah, nothing new. I actually like to front end my week normally. I usually try and knock out 3 meetings Monday night, 3 meetings Tuesday night. So for me, I'm okay. I'm going to do it. But yeah, I will not be replying to messages or taking phone calls, that's for sure. Just back to a point earlier, Tom, you sort of alluded to the fact that you could try and dominate one particular race, but of course, each team can only have 1 pick per race because you've only got 1 driver.
Ah, right. That makes sense. Yes, fair enough.
But I reckon there's going to be, there'll be 3 or 4 races that they'll just be so even. It'll be $4 or $5 the field. And I wouldn't be shocked if there's entire races that are not touched till, after pick 100. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
And the various opinions. Everyone's doing form, and people have various opinions on those, and they might make a rate of $8 shot, $3, and away you go.
Yeah, because there'll be no markets out at that stage, I presume, Ryan. So therefore, it's your own form and not copying off what markets are already out there.
So when do markets come up before the race? Is it after the slots? We think you're talking Thursday night, Friday morning for these races at the corporates, Ryan?
Well, you normally get 1 or 2 races midweek from the corporates pricing up, your feature free-for-alls or a group race. But in saying that, for this, I think the corps are going to make an effort, and I reckon we might get markets late Tuesday across a put it this way, come Wednesday, I wouldn't be shocked if for at least a Saturday night, there's markets for all races.
Love it. Betfair will follow suit. We'll get all the markets up. Now, talk about your driver and where you sit in terms of pricing. Betfair have a market up there. You Google Ultimate Driver Championship and the market's there. Ryan, I'm expecting you to put up some money. At least back your driver. $7.20 at the moment. Fair price. How confident are you?
Well, look, I'm confident that we're going to be able to mix it with the best and be at the pointy end. I think at the moment on the Betfair market, we've sort of got that logjam at the top between Dexter Dunn, Nathan, Pete McMullen, and Gary Hall Jr. And for me, I think rightfully so, they should be the four leading candidates. If I can get around $8 for Nathan Dawson, I might open the wallet.
I'll put up a price for $8 and set up a challenge, and people on Betfair will publish this and they can jump on and take your $8, mate. Why not? Put up a price. We'll see how we go. Someone from another syndicate might have a strong opinion and they might jump on. So very interesting. Let's do that. Let's fire that up. You guys are both brilliant contributors and content providers and tipsters and form analysts in your own right. They can all find your stuff on the Betfair app. Is that right, Darren?
Yeah, absolutely. Follow us on the Betfair app if you don't already do so. Just click on us and follow. That way you'll get your updated market suggestions as we go through each meeting. My brother Brett and I do Victorian shots nearly every meeting of the week. We race most days in Victoria. And Ryan is involved in Queensland, Will Norman, New South Wales, and we're all involved in the syndicate. So, yeah, give us a follow.
Love it. Yeah. Download the Betfair app if you haven't got it. Follow us. Follow Darren and Brett Carroll, Ryan Spice, Will Norman, who will be on the show next week with Ryan talking form. Turn on notifications. You'll get notified when their tips are in the app. So it's a brilliant content. Follow them all. You both and Will, fantastic judges. So always follow you guys. I can't wait to chat with you, Ryan, next Wednesday. You might be tired by then, but you got to amp up, drink some Red Bull, have a few coffees because you got another few big days ahead of you. We'll chat Wednesday morning, you and Will.
Perfect. And I'll be, of course, trying to do providing a set for the Betfair for both Friday and Saturday. So, yeah, give us a follow and they'll be straight pushed as an alert.
I can't wait. Where can we watch this? Is it featured anywhere or is it just a typical Sky meeting?
It is just a typical Sky meeting in that sense, but also too, you can follow along and watch a live stream of the entire event at theultimatedriver.com.au, and there's going to be plenty of extra content, roving reporters and people doing interviews on track. So yeah, have a laptop up with the live stream to complement how you normally consume the wonderful sport that is harness racing.
Beautiful. Can't wait. That'll be fantastic. Best of luck. Good luck Monday, Ryan, doing the form, and we'll chat with you Wednesday. Thanks for joining us on Layback with Betfair.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.